The deck plating vibrated, sending a fine dust of red Martian soil into the air. Marek braced himself against a command console, the metal cold through his suit's gloves. On the main view screen, the quiet vacuum of space was filled with silent, deadly explosions. Streaks of plasma fire hit the surface of Phobos, the small moon they were buried inside. "Status!" Marek yelled, not to the dead comms panel, but to the woman checking the seals on the reinforced door. Celine didn't look up. Her movements were calm and precise. "The outer listening posts are gone. The main hangar bay is exposed to vacuum. We are trapped, Marek, just as I predicted." "Prediction doesn't help us now," he snapped. "We need an exit. Emergency Tunnel 7 Alpha, it leads to the surface. They'll be watching it." "It's a tomb," she said, finally turning to face him. Her face, visible through her helmet's visor, was pale but determined. "There is another way. A better way." "Yes!" Marek pushed off the console, his magnetic boots clanking on the floor. "We are in a secret military bunker. There are no other ways. I know the blueprints." "You know the blueprints for the bunker?" Celine corrected him, "but not for the foundation it was built in. Sub-level 9. We have to go down." He stared at her. "The temple?" "Celine, that's just a cave full of strange rocks you love to study. It's a dead end." Another heavy impact shook the entire outpost. The lights flickered and died, replaced by the red glow of emergency power. "The enemy is cutting through the upper levels," Celine said, her voice tight. "They will be here in minutes. Do you want to die following standard procedure, or do you want to live by trusting my science?" Marek hated this. He was a soldier. He believed in walls, weapons, and clear escape routes. Celine, the civilian xeno-archaeologist, was asking him to believe in something that sounded like a myth, but the vibrations under his feet were real. Yes, the silence from his commanders was real. Death was real. "Fine," he grunted, grabbing his pulse rifle from its rack. "Lead the way, but if this is a trap, You won't have to do anything," she said, already moving towards an access ladder. "We'll already be dead." They descended into the cold heart of Phobo. The upper levels were sterile and metallic, a standard military design. But as they went deeper, the walls changed. Smooth, dark stone began to appear between the metal plates, carved with patterns that seemed to shift when you weren't looking directly at them. "The military dug this far and stopped," Celine explained, her voice echoing in the narrow passage. "They found the main chamber and declared it structurally sound. They built their bunker on top of a miracle and never even realized it." Their comms crackled. A weak voice came through. "Marek? Celine? Can you hear me?" "Isaac." Marek felt a surge of relief. "Where are you?" "Yes, holding position on the dark side, but it's getting ugly up here." The pilot's voice was strained. "Debris from the battle is everywhere. My ship, the Kestrel, can't take many more hits. What's your status?" "We're trying a new exit," Marek said, glancing at Celine. He didn't want to explain her crazy plan. "Just hold on. Give us 20 minutes. "You have 10, Isaac replied, and the connection died. A loud grinding sound came from above them. The enemy was getting closer. They finally reached the bottom level. A heavy blast door, marked Sub-Level 9, blocked their path. Celine immediately began to work on the electronic lock. Marek stood guard, his rifle pointed back the way they had come. "You said this temple is a way out," Marek said, his eyes scanning the dark corridor. "What does that mean? A hidden ship? A secret tunnel to the other side of the moon?" "Nothing so simple," Celine said as the door hissed open. "It's not a vehicle, it's a station." "Yes." They stepped through, and Marek felt his breath catch in his throat. The room was not a room. It was a cavernous space so large that his helmet light couldn't find the ceiling. The air was still and ancient. The walls were made of that same dark, non-reflective stone, covered in glowing lines that formed complex, impossible shapes. In the center of the cavern was a circular platform, a dais of polished black stone. This was the heart of the ancient temple. "What is this place?" Marek whispered. "I believe it is a transport system," Celine said, walking towards the central platform. "These lines on the walls are not decoration. They are circuits. The patterns are instructions. The builders of this place didn't use wires and energy conduits. The entire structure is the machine. A teleporter? Marek laughed, a short, nervous sound. That's science fiction, Celine. So are aliens, until you find their temple inside a moon, she replied, kneeling on the dais. Yes, she ran her gloved hand over its surface, which began to glow faintly where she touched it. I've been studying these patterns for months, she said, her voice filled with excitement. The military thought they were art, but they are a language, a code, a destination. Suddenly, a massive explosion from the corridor behind them threw both of them to the ground. The blast door buckled inward, its metal groaning. Marek was on his feet in a second. They're here. How much time do you need? I don't know. I've never actually done this, Celine cried, crawling back to the platform. She began tracing a complex pattern on the dais with her finger. Blue light followed her touch, humming with a low energy. The blast door was torn from its hinges. Armored figures, not human, stood in the doorway. Their robotic forms were sleek and efficient. They raised their weapons. Marek opened fire. His pulse rifle sent bolts of energy into the attackers. Yes, the first two fell, but 3 more took their place. Almost there, Celine shouted. The low gravity of Phobo was both a help and a danger. Marek jumped, pushing off the floor and sailing through the air to land behind a massive stone pillar. The enemy's energy weapons sliced through the air where he had been. He returned fire, taking down another one. But more were coming. He was out of cover. He had to buy her more time. He saw Celine falter. She was trying to trace 2 lines at once on opposite sides of the platform. She couldn't reach both. Marek, I need help, she yelled, her voice desperate. I have to complete the circuit. A plasma bolt hit Marek's shoulder, throwing him against the wall. His suit sealed the puncture, but pain shot through his arm. He could see the enemy advancing, their movements cold and calculated. He had a choice: keep fighting a battle he could not win, or trust in a dead civilization's impossible technology. He dropped his rifle. Yes, and clattered on the stone floor. Ignoring the pain, he launched himself off the wall, flying across the cavern in a long, low-gravity arc. He landed beside Celine on the platform just as the first enemy soldier reached its base. "Show me," he yelled. "Trace that pattern. Mirror me," she commanded, pointing to a spiral on the far side. Marek pressed his hand to the cold stone and began to trace the glowing shape. The hum grew louder, the light from the platform more intense. The air around them grew heavy, vibrating with power. The enemy soldiers were raising their rifles for the final shot. Marek and Celine connected the final lines of their patterns at the exact same moment. There was no flash, no sound. The world simply folded. For a terrifying second, Marek felt like he was everywhere and nowhere. It was a silent, wrenching twist of reality. And then, it was over. They were standing on an identical platform in an identical cavern, but the air was different, colder. Yes, the shouting and weapons fire were gone. There was only silence. "Did it work?" Marek asked, his body aching. Celine was looking around, her face a mix of terror and wonder. "I think so. We are safe." Just then, Marek's calm crackled to life. It was Isaac, his voice filled with confusion. "Marek, Celine." My long-range sensors picked up a weird energy spike inside Deimos. "Is that you? How did you get to the other moon?" Marek looked at Celine. Deimos, the other moon of Mars. They hadn't just escaped the bunker. They had traveled 20,000 kilometers in an instant. Celine stared at the platform beneath their feet, her eyes wide with a new, terrifying understand. "This wasn't an exit," she whispered. "It was a doorway." Yes,